Welcome to Keyframers, the animated collaborative coding live stream where we bring imaginative user interfaces to life. I'm your host, Stephen Shaw, but you may know me as @Shashaw.
And hey, I'm David Khourshid, also known as @DavidK Piano.
What's up, David? What are you doing down there?
You didn't believe me that my last name was Piano, so I guess you thought I knew how to play piano. So I went and bought a grand piano so I could pretend, I guess.
That's impressive. And you are sitting at a actual grand piano at this point, right?
Yes, it is.
What's the maker of that?
It's Yamaha, because I can't
Yamaha.
afford a Steinway. No one can.
Nice. Well, that's pretty cool. Yeah. Today we are doing something a little bit different. We are going to be animating. We are going to be live coding, but we're also going to have some live music as we do that. Uh,
Yeah.
Today is a new segment we like to call Keys+Code. You can see the fancy logo there in the stream. And basically, we're going to create an audio visualizer as we go. So David's going to provide some audio input for us, and yeah, we'll see how this goes.
Yeah. And so, by the way, feel free to give suggestions or what's it called, requests. Yeah, requests. I don't have a tip jar, but you could always like, subscribe, whatever.
Yes, you can send us bits here on twitch.tv /keyframers, or you can subscribe and like and all those things. That's certainly helpful. And we'll see how the how that goes.
Yeah, we're totally improving this.
Yeah.
So
This show is made possible by your support. Pledge at patreon.com/keyframers as another way to support us. And there's additional links available below.
yeah, and as Mars has pointed out, we have blown our budget because this cost about. Actually, this wasn't too expensive. It was about $8,000. But yeah, so help us get to that $8,000 mark.
Yeah, pledge at patreon.com/keyframers. Once we hit that $8,000 mark, we will not be in debt. No.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's great. So yeah, let's get us going here. So today, yeah, we're going to be creating an audio visualizer. Marius asks about the Piano Visualizer app. There is dot.
There are a few of those, right? I think it's
Yeah. So dot piano is one that I enjoy. Let me see if I can switch over to that here.
yeah.
If that will work.
And of course, there's synesthesia, which everyone knows about. It's those YouTube videos where you see you're playing on the keys and then it sort of comes down in lights. And I was a piano teacher for a few years, so that's not the best way to learn. In case you're wondering, like, because we don't play piano that way. We don't play piano by following lights and hitting the keys when the lights come on. That's not a good way to do it. But yeah, there's
Yeah.
pianovisualizer.com, which is pretty much the same thing.
Yes. Oh yeah. Yeah. That's a great one.
Mhm. So those work best if I had a MIDI keyboard, which I actually do not. This is not MIDI. This is it's like it was built in 1989. So no electronics at all, which is great because if there's no power, no internet, I could just play piano for hours until I get power back, which is a thing that happens in Florida because we get thunderstorms and tropical storms and hurricanes, and I forget to pay my power bill sometimes.
Right. Right. So yes, this is going to be an audio visualizer, not a MIDI visualizer. And I had a lot of help from Ruth John getting set up. She does some phenomenal audio work, specifically on the visualizer side, but also with like actual generative audio, and does live performances with live JS. Her The collective she's a part of, they do live shows just with JavaScript generated visuals and audio. which is pretty rad. So yeah, I'll guess switch over to some code here, and yeah, we'll start getting this set up. So yeah, if you have any special requests, hit us up.
Yeah, no one has special requests, which means I'm just gonna play. I don't know. What's a song that everyone knows?
Let's see. That's pretty awesome.
Piano Man.
Piano Man.
Yeah.
Is that the go-to pretty much all the time?
Yeah. So also, just so you know, I play by ear. I also read sheet music. I was classically trained for about 22, 23 years now. So.
You've been playing 22 years, you said?
Yep, just about.
Dang. That's awesome.
That's just like.
A little Flight of the Bumblebee. That's nice. All right, so I'm getting some code set up here. Have you ever done any audio work, David?
I actually, you know what? I've only done audio work once, and it was during a hackathon. Basically, it was one of those free-for-all hackathons. You had to use PHP, like sort of a what's it called? A mean stack? No, it's not a mean stack. It's a lamp stack. This was a hackathon a while ago, and what I ended up doing was I really wanted to make an app just like there's this app called Oxy on the iPad. It's a really cool app where you could just touch it and you could like just play certain tunes just by, just pressing squares on the grid. And so I really wanted to recreate that, and I haven't done anything like that before. Thankfully, I found this library called Tone.js that really helps me implement that, and so that was a lot of fun to do. And I ended up winning second place, which I wanted to win second place because second place was a $500 gift card. First place was like a gaming computer, but I mean, I don't really game, so only just $500. And then I lost a $500 gift card. So.
Oh man.
Yeah. Yep. Cool story.
I just created a professional.
Win some, you lose some, or you win and then you lose.
Yeah.
All right. So down here, let me adjust a few things. Let me know on the audio there if everything's coming through okay. I'm adjusting on the fly as we go.
However that goes. I actually just pulled it up on YouTube just to figure out the tune. Yeah, I could do, hold on, let's see. Flight of the Bumblebee. this is one of the great things about the internet. There's this website called imslp.org, which has all the sheet music you could ever ask for, as long as the copyright is expired, which for most of the dead composers, it is. So you could just, find this sheet music and play it.
Is that anything like guitar tabs?
It is, except it's actual photocopied music. So people digitally scan these, and they. Let's see if I can find it. This should be fun. SLP.
All right. While you're doing that, so I'm doing some setup work here. So for audio visualization, it's going to be using the audio context API. We're gonna tap into the audio context API, and we're gonna attach an analyzer node to that. So that's what I'm setting up right now.
Never played this before. Wow, it really does that. Your hand across there. Silly. If you're wondering what the sheet music looks like, it looks like this.
Oh, geez. Yeah, that's impressive.
It's fun stuff. And so, Flight of the Bumblebee is by Rimsky-Korsakov, and it was originally, of course, an orchestral piece, and so that's why there's no official piano score. There's arrangements. One that I played a while ago was it's called Bumble Boogie, and that's the sort of a fun variation.
All right. Let's see. All right. So one thing that's changed with the audio API, the audio context API, is that it only can be triggered by a user action now. So one thing we have to do, start stream, let's say, and then we will, we're going to be basing this off the microphone. I've got some fancy audio hookup so that David's piano is going to be coming through there as well. So we're going to return navigator.mediadevices.getUserMedia. And this API lets us just tap into the microphone or video or other browser APIs for that kind of stuff. We want audio. We don't need video. So we'll set that false. I don't know if that's strictly necessary. And this is a promise-based API. So then we get the stream of that data. We connect it to our audio context from up on line 1. Create media stream source stream. Yeah, and that's going to feed into the next promise here. Then we've got a source. And so we'll tell the source to connect to our analyzer node, because this is what's actually going to give us the data we want for creating a visualization. And from there, we should be okay. So what we'll do now is on document.add event listener, click. will trigger that start stream so that we can start getting some data in. And
My God.
yeah, it's a lot of setup. But once we get past that.
That you've done this too?
So I had a lot of help from Ruth John again, and
Thanks,
messed around with this a little bit a couple weeks ago, and got the base for all of this set up last night. So there's a lot of difficulty with it, but once we get past this initial hurdle, it'll start being a lot easier. We'll start working with CSS variables and all that fun stuff. So take us away.
Someone recommended Beethoven, so that's a fun one. Here, I'll try it with my hands crossed for no reason. That was fun. Now, there's a lot more interesting Beethoven pieces than just that one.
Who's your favorite classical composer?
My favorite classical composer has to be Rachmaninoff, for sure.
Who?
Rachmaninoff. Rachmaninoff he's a Russian composer. He was late 1800s, early 1900s. So that would put him post-romantic for sure, because you have the Romantic era, which happened after the Classical era, and then you have sort of Impressionist, and then you have post-romantic, which is just I don't know. It's just a really dense, intense sound listening. It's like the heavy metal of classical music. So.
All right. You'll have to play some of that for us. We also did get a request for happy birthday for.
Oh yeah, for
Wilto, Matt Marquois.
Whatever. Happy birthday, Wilto.
Yay! Happy birthday. And that is public domain now, so.
It is. Who suggested list La Campanella? Okay, sure.
Animation frame. All right, so update visualizer. All right, so what I'm doing now is just starting a request animation frame loop after the audio API is rendering, or after the audio API is available thanks to that user action. So that's going to be there. Sorry, I'm bouncing around between things.
Click to start audio render. So why do you have to click to start?
It's a kind of a safety thing for browser APIs, a security deal, so that the audio API just doesn't start up when you visit a site for the first time. I think there were additional restrictions before that, but that's the basic reason as best I can tell. All right, so let's see, analyzer node.get byte frequency data, and then we're going to populate that into our data array. And then what we're going to do here is document, let's see, window.volume.text content equals data 0. Let's see if that does anything or if it's just going to break everything. All right, audio context not allowed to start. Let me save here. Let's do console.clear. Right, it's not specifically autoplay related. It's more about allowing pages to capture that data without users really knowing, which is definitely dangerous.
I gotcha.
Okay. Hey, there we go. All right. So if you look at my amazing audio visualizer, it's working. So if you saw that there right as David was playing, or as I'm talking, the value is updating with the basically the level of the audio overall. So if we're really quiet, it goes down to 0. But then if we're loud, it goes all the way up to 255. 255 is the max here for that. So 0 to 255. 0 being silent, 255 being the max. So we're all done, right? Wrong, yes. So all that's happening here, let me run through real quick. So we've got our audio context, which tells the browser we want to get some data from the user. And we've got an analyzer node that we're going to attach to that's going to pull data from that. But in order to do all of that, we have to wait until the user initializes with some kind of action like clicking or whatever. So we resume the audio context here, and then we start the stream of data.
I was trying to look for it on spread. Actually, the lead sheet somewhere there. That's a great one. Girlfriend with Anima. It's more jazzy.
Is this the artist?
No, Girlfriend with Anima is not an artist.
Sorry.
It's by who's it by? It's Antonio Carlos Jobim, I guess. So yeah.
Interesting.
Sheet music's hard on here because it's a whole bunch of scrolling. It's like a whole different skill.
Oh yeah, they make foot pedals for that kind of thing, don't they?
All right, Zelda. I think I know Zelda. So I don't play video games, but I did play Super Smash Brothers with my brother, and we had that. That's how it goes, right? Something like that.
That's right on.
Have you played Zelda?
I have played a Zelda or two. I don't know which ones off the top of my head. Four Swords for the GameCube was fantastic. It was a multiplayer Zelda, but it used Game Boy Advances as the controllers, which was super interesting. Everybody had kind of their own screen, as well as like the group screen on the TV. It was quite fun.
Do you know the Mario theme? Do I know the Mario theme? Something like should find see sheet music for this. So what are you making there?
So I'm just gonna do a quick bar visual with some CSS variables, and then we'll expand that into a full kind of graphical bar visualization before maybe trying out some other things. So let's see. Const L visualizer equals document.query selector dot visualizer. Nice.
Actually, I have sheet music pulled up this time.
Twitch folks should be loving this. Where are they?
This is too much fun. All right, we have going on.
All right, so
Oh, I see the bar moving.
yes. Let's.
So, despite the rumors you might have heard, we are not going to be doing ASMR. Not a thing we're doing.
Hold on now. If there's a demand in the market for it,
I guess so.
All right. So as we talk now, that should be triggering well. I'm going to adjust a few of the variables. Check 1 2. Check 1 2. Check 1 2. That should be triggering just nicely. And if you play your piano, that should be triggering as well.
Hold on, I'm getting there. I had to find the right. You know, let me listen to something first because I actually really want to play this one. I just forget how it goes.
All right. Well, I'll explain real quick what's happening. So I've got a visualizer element here, and then that's just basically a big blue bar. If I take this transform off of it, you'll see that's all it is. I've got transform origin bottom center on it, and then transform scale Y using a CSS variable that's being fed in from the audio API. So in our update visualizer function down here, we're updating the data from what's from the audio context, the analyzer node that's attached to it, and then we're using style.set property to give it that level attribute based on the data divided by 255. 255 is the max, and 0 is the min. So this will give us a value ranging from 0 to 1.
So how do we get multiple levels then? So we don't just have that one aggregate one, but like from the different range.
Right. So if you notice, I'm referencing data 0.
Right.
And up here I have a value, number of nodes, and this uint8 array that's being populated kind of by the number of nodes, which is our kind of data array. So what we're going to do there is basically have a bunch of nodes in the visualizer. So that's part of what I was working on, array from, and then we'll do a map function.
There's Jurassic Park.
It's beautiful.
And yes, I am showing off my grand piano.
Yes.
Everyone has to have that one thing that when they don't code, that's what they're doing, you know?
Yes. This is definitely one of the better skills to have, I think. It's just so beautiful.
But don't you play an instrument too?
I do. I dabble. I mostly do electric guitar, but I also occasionally play a little ukulele that's green screened out due to the color. Yeah, that's cool.
Aha! Awesome. Play Despacito.
if only. I do know some things. Let's get some more interesting visuals going here, and then we can do some dueling banjos.
Heck yeah.
Let's see. Okay, so visualizer. So what I'm going to do here, I started this array of L nodes, and what I'm going to do is create an element for each of these nodes. In the chat, Mabaleo. I wished my dog would watch me the way Stephen looks at David playing. Oh, thank you.
My dog cries whenever I play, like in a screaming way, and I have to play
singing along.
I know, but it's very loud, and I don't know why he does it, but he does it. So, all right, I'm catching up here. So your CSS level variable, that's between 0 and 1, right?
Yes. Yes. So we're gonna.
Okay, because you're dividing by 255.
Right. Okay. So node.class name L visualizer dot append child node. Okay. Node. All right. So what we're gonna do here is change this to.
I'm gonna have some fun.
Change this to node. Visualizer is going to be display flex, and then we'll do width, 100% width, sure.
Why am I snapping my fingers? I could just play.
Okay, so we've got.
Oh, you broke the CSS, that's why.
How did I break the CSS? I think you broke the CSS.
Did I? Oh, I did break the CSS. That was me. I just want a fancy color to show up, but it's not.
RGBA. Yeah, I don't know what's happening there.
Because C is a number from between 0 and 255, right? So
yeah, so I need to. Let me.
it should be working.
Let me do.
I thought you could use CSS variables in in RGB like that. Let's try just RGB.
Well, it might be just the general code here. Let me make sure that something's not happening in the JavaScript. Okay, so visualizer got here. I do have nodes. Let's see. Just get those. Oh, they need to be height 100%. No, yeah, there we go. Yeah. That's right. Okay, so let's.
All right. So why isn't my dynamic color working?
It will. Just.
Okay.
There we go.
Oh wow.
Now it's working. All right. Epilepsy warning, by the way. There will be. There will be some things happening. Good gravy.
Oh, this is fun. Okay.
Okay. All right. So what I'm gonna do now is we're gonna set each of these individually rather than setting the variables on the visualizer element. Let's set each of the nodes. So what we're going to do, let's see, we're on a return node here, so that L nodes is just going to be an array of nodes. And then what we'll do is L nodes dot for each node, and then we'll say node data I, node comma I, and then node style.set property data I. Okay. Now if we start render, check 1 2, that is
Check.
not doing anything, is it?
Check. Well, it's sort of changing the color. Whoa.
Oh yeah, the
color's changing.
Oh, okay. I commented out the scaling, so that's part of it. So let's see. Add that back in. Hey, whoa. Check that out.
Those are some neat colors. I'm just playing around with the numbers right now. Blah, 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 blah. Huh. It's pretty cool. There you go. Happy.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Okay, so check. So there's one thing that I'm not completely sure about with the audio API. Like it doesn't seem to really be the full spectrum of
Yeah.
like the lower. It just seems to have some kind of roll off or something like that, and maybe that it's partially due
You
to.
know what? It's maybe because I know what it is. All right, so you're dividing it evenly, right?
Dividing what evenly?
Like I don't know, well, whatever you're getting the data from. Let me take a look at it because in reality, it might actually be, or I'm pretty sure it's a logarithmic thing. Because
Oh, right. The higher frequencies are rolling off.
right, so you might have to like just math.pow to the something or Ruth. Where's Ruth? She would know.
Yeah, I
Yeah, you need to do something like that. All right, so we have let's see, you're going
so
array
in
dot
line 32 node style.set property level, and that's data I divided by 255. So
and
here
we could just do math.log to that. No, math dot. Yeah, here let's try that. Let's see what happens if we do that. See that might not do what we. Whoa! I like this effect.
whoa
Testing. No, that didn't. Math.ln is probably not a thing.
no
It's math dot
log returns
L.
the base number.
There's log 2, log 10, and then log, that would be the natural log.
And then do we need to divide it by I?
Here, well, if it's this, and then right now we're just screwing with the math. Oh. This looks almost right. Testing, except, okay. Yeah, except I'm going the wrong way. Negative. Testing.
Whoa.
Test.
Yeah, but that's we need to incorporate the index of it in there somewhere.
Right.
So
Let's see if anyone in the chat knows. Anyone in the chat know? This is really fun though.
so one thing I think we can do is let's see, and then times. Let's see. So let's do times I divided by number of nodes times 1 plus. And this will give us a really rough increase as the index gets higher and higher. Check 1, 2. Check.
Check.
Times 1 plus I divided by number of nodes. In theory, that should be setting the later ones even higher, making them more sensitive. But my math might be off there.
Test.
All right, so again, this is an audio visualizer powered by CSS variables and the audio context API. We're tweaking some values right now to just try try some things. Yeah, if you're trying to trigger it in the chat, you just need to type a bit louder. That definitely helps.
Exactly.
Check 1 2 check.
I didn't watch Game of Thrones really past season 3. Apparently, I didn't miss much. Not doing what we wanted to do.
Well, so part of the issue, at least on my end, is that the audio compression over our conference call here is definitely affecting it. But we are getting, let me see, a fair bit from there. So FFT size, might need to adjust that too. Check 1 2 check. La 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 la. Check. Mic check 1 2 check. Hey. Oh, nope. It's gonna be by 4, I think. Check 1 2. Hey, FFT size might be more what we're looking for. Give us a range of things, David.
Oh. Good range.
Yeah. So we're getting a lot more variance here, going from the higher range to lower. Check. Let me try adjusting that a little bit more.
I can't whistle.
Really?
That was my best attempt.
Oh.
Oh man, one day I will learn how to whistle just like you, but today's not.
All right, that's feeling pretty nice. Check. That's fun to play with. All right. So yeah, that's doing pretty good. I like the color transition. That's really nice on that.
Yeah, and that just really shows what you could do with but you have the raw values, right? So you could pretty much just go crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, can I read that small? Let's find out. minute waltz. You know, a lot of people call that the minute waltz. And so they think it's a personal challenge to play it under a minute, which some pianists have accomplished, but it's really the minute waltz. It means a tiny waltz. It doesn't mean the minute waltz, like minute rice or minute whatever.
There's no, is there a rice-a-roni competition or composition?
No.
No. Hey now, we got a special request in the chat.
All right, let me give that a listen real quick.
Okay.
I mean, I sort of know how it goes, but
I'm gonna attempt something. So another way we could do this is translate Y. Amazing. That's fun.
Yeah.
Okay, so one thing I did, I adjusted it to be translate Y instead. Nice
so what
emoji
does that make?
Because I think there's one thing we could attempt is the typical like equalizer. One thing you usually see, or graphical visualizer, one thing you typically see with that is the colors actually stay static. So like the very bottom is green, and then as you get up in the clipping range, it turns orange. So what I was thinking is doing a pseudo element inside of that that's going to be translated opposite of that. Does that make sense?
It makes no sense.
Okay, yeah, it doesn't really. Unless there's a better way for that. What are you trying to do? Oh, hey.
Woo.
Check 1, 2. La, 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 la,
la, la, la. I want to pop out at you, so maybe if I... Oh my God. Great.
Whoa. Hey, look out.
I missed the perspective there, but wow. Oh, that's fun.
Yikes.
Boom.
3D visualizer. Wow.
Yeah, it looks like one of those hammered dulcimers, or you don't know. Maybe no.
I know.
Okay, you're in the know.
You could also do transform, translate Z, R level times 100 pix, something like that. Check 1, 2 gives kind of that pop out effect, but we would probably do instead, let's see, 1 minus var level, and then send it backwards. Let's say 600 pix. Check 1, 2. Get a lot of cool effects that way. Oh. Do you have perfect pitch, David?
I do, yeah. Sometimes it goes away, so I have to like just. But yeah. I do. Like especially if it's on the piano.
That's awesome.
So yeah. You know that one. Tchaikovsky piano concerto. All right, now you're trolling me. Oh my god, that's one of the hardest piano concertos. People say it is the hardest. There's, there might be a few harder ones than that one, but that's an extremely hard piano concerto. So I don't think I even got the sheet music right. I got like sheet music for the Rachmaninoff concertos, which are considered very hard as well. But like, oh man.
This is interesting. Yeah, attempting another effect. 2.5. Check 1, 2. Oh, I gotta wrap that in a calc. Check 1, 2.
Yeah, it's just a monster of a piano concerto. The orchestra does its whole thing where it goes like. And then the piano comes in like a freaking boss, like. It just does that for a long time. And then the orchestra is trying to fight it and like present its main tune. It's a really beautiful concerto, but the piano's just like a lot. It's like Tchaikovsky's just. It never really worked in that
one. So Steve in the chat suggesting amending analyzer dot FFT size to a smaller number. So I tried that. So part of the issue with the piano there is just the compression from our web audio conference between David and I. If you're looking at my voice, it shows a much wider range here. So that's part of it. I tried having the FFT lower, and that adjusts that messes with it a little bit. Having a higher FFT size seemed to increase the range a bit there. One thing as I was talking with one thing to note there with FFT size, it has to be a factor of 8. That's very important. One thing talking with Ruth John about this, the data array, most of that is really unusable because those ranges kind of taper out, or the frequencies get higher and higher, and it just kind of gets to where it's not even audible stuff that the data is coming through for. So by having the data array larger than the number of nodes I want to show, we're actually only showing, the first 16 rows of data there. So that can help give a more usable range here. Let me see if the ukulele, the invisible ukulele, comes through at all. It's still not showing too much of a range. It seems to be much more responsive to my voice here. I do know that one.
What key are you playing?
C-ish.
C perfect pitch. I'll play the melody.
Sorry, I'm gonna need the chords for it. But yeah, this is neat. Check.
Something like that. Yeah, I'm not playing that Strasbourg.
Let's see here.
All right, so you're making them zoomy.
Something like that. I'm not a ukulele player at all. I just dabble.
Wait, so what do you usually play?
Electric guitar is my primary.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's see. I don't know that we have time to implement a like preset kind of switcher idea. I like maybe leaving some of these that we've messed around with commented out in here, just for people to explore with. Maybe we can add that after the fact. We will have to wrap up the stream here in just a moment.
Wait there. I'm trying something. Test.
Yeah.
Test. Oh man, so is the level... Oh, it's not the node. Just kidding, so you don't have the overall level.
I think it's a half step down.
Yeah. There, my perfect pitch is failing. Oh, you're playing it now. Something like that.
Woo.
Well, this is cool. Yeah, I try to get like a circle moving, but I guess
So yeah, the overall level isn't really set. We'd have to average out the all of them.
yeah, which sounds like too much work for.
It just sounds like a lot of math, you know.
It is a lot of math, man. Dealing with audio is so much math.
It is.
It's wow, but yeah, I just love seeing this all come together. Oh man, and you could take this and you could add a GUI filter and get something really, really, really crazy.
Something very unperformant, extremely unperformant. Yeah. Oh geez. Gosh, that's fun. Yeah, I'm liking this. Hey, there we go.
Tetris.
Woo woo.
Maybe we'll program Tetris next time.
That is awesome. You are a wonderful pianist, David.
And you are a decent ukulele player.
I am a player.
And we learned a lot more about audio than we've had in previous episodes. Yeah, this is the first time that we've done an audio visual type of thing, and
right,
it's really cool.
It's the first time we've kind of dealt with input other than touch or
right.
like, pointer events, which is cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so what I want everyone to be aware of too is the fact that we're moving this all into CSS variables. So we're not doing the traditional audio viz stuff where we're directly manipulating anything. Instead, we put to CSS variables and we could do whatever the heck we want with it. It's like this newfound freedom.
It is.
It doesn't even need to go to CSS variables. You could take those values and put it in Canvas, put it in WebGL, do something crazy. So
yeah. I think we'll make this a regular segment and
yeah, once a month.
Kind of push this to the limit. Just figuring out different ways to present this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Should we keyflect a little bit? Why don't you play a song and then we'll go into
sure. What do you want me to play?
Oh, that's a good question.
I know it's always. Let's see what's trending right now. I know Old Town Road, of course.
Oh, nice.
That's been on the charts for a long time.
Something that'll demonetize us for sure. Some classic Ode to Joy would be nice. We are now moving into Keyflections, a quick review of the techniques used to build this animation. If you have any questions or additional song requests, ask us in the chat, and we'll be happy to answer or oblige.
Yeah, by the way, if you've enjoyed watching or hearing us so far, follow and subscribe here on Twitch. Tell your friends that you saw coders do non-coding things, because that's always interesting, promise you. Or pledge at patreon.com/keyframers so I can pay off this piano that I bought just for this episode, and they won't take it back. It's very hard to sell, so links are available right below.
Well, pianos are pretty easy to move, right?
No. Definitely not.
So today's episode has been something a little bit different. It's a new segment we're calling Keys+Code, and we're basically building audio visualizers and providing some audio input. So we've got David on his lovely grand piano, playing some tunes for us, and we built an audio visualizer from scratch to provide some visuals for that. Okay, so yes, let's see. I had a lot of help from Ruth John getting the initial setup, and she walked me through a lot of this. We're gonna have to have her on one time. She would she'd be a great
Ruth, come on
guest.
if you're listening or watching or something.
So basically, what's happening? We have an audio context, which is an API just built into the browser, and then that is initialized by a click event. It has to be triggered by user events, otherwise it just won't run through. And so once that event is triggered, we connect it to the user's audio input. That's what this does here. So that we're getting user media and streaming that into the audio context. And the audio context is connected to the analyzer node. The analyzer node we set up here, which is what is actually pulling the audio data out of it. With just a regular audio context, we could be playing this audio back. We could be manipulating the audio, making crazy effects, delay, reverb, and pitch shifting, like all that kind of stuff is a part of the audio context. The analyzer node is something that allows us to just kind of get data about the audio that's coming through that context. So we've set that up here, and then we have this update visualizer function that's just running every request animation frame. The analyzer node is queried to get that byte frequency data, which is populated into a data array essentially, and then all of our node elements that we're generating right here. These are just plain old divs. They're being updated with some CSS variables. So C is just the full range, 0 to 255, and then level is the value kind of 0 to 1 for that particular frequency. And then we're doing a little bit. We're attempting just kind of a logarithmic bump, so that the ones towards the end of the frequency spectrum, or the higher end of the frequency spectrum, get a little bit more of a boost. Which helps a little bit, and David's piano is coming through here, but it is compressed through just the audio encoding. So you want to walk us through the CSS?
The CSS, yeah. So this is your run-of-the-mill CSS. We have both the level and where's my color? Yeah, it's there. Okay, so the level coming in, it's very useful, like we've done in previous episodes, to have your CSS variables be between 0 and 1, because that gives you full flexibility for whatever you want to do with that value. In this case, we're, of course, setting a transform style to preserve 3D so that we could sort of have these visualizations be in your face. And we achieve that by, this is overwritten, by translating Z and also scaling the y-axis as well. So it just comes right at you. And this is really flexible because, you could just toggle a class or something and have the visualization change. And so maybe one day we'll just remake those old school, Windows Media Player visualizations and just be able to toggle between them, not having to touch the JavaScript at all, but just touching the CSS. And you'd be pretty amazed at what you could do with CSS variables. So that's what we're doing.
Yeah, in future episodes, we can use this as a base. We can add in a few additional CSS variables that come in and just kind of play around with different ways to visualize this audio data. Maybe eventually we'll even do some canvas work. Who knows?
Yeah, no, Canvas scares me, but so does this, but it scares me a little bit less now. But of course, we're doing this just like we've done in previous episodes. We're doing this from scratch. There are helper libraries such as tonejs.org, which abstract a lot of this away. So,
Yeah. All right. Well, that's pretty much the code. There's not too much additionally that we're doing here. Any final requests before we go? For anyone or anything you've been dying to play, David? What's your go-to?
I'll play it at the very end.
Okay. You'll play us out with that.
I will.
That'd be great.
It'll be very short, but
we got a request for Final Countdown in there.
which one's that? Is it
Yeah.
something like that?
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. What about Africa? You got that on lock?
How's that one go? No, it's darn it, how's it go?
It's beautiful.
I don't know how fully it goes.
It's beautiful.
Something like that.
All right. Let's go through the outro, and then you can play us out.
All right.
Thank you for joining us so much. You have been watching Keyframers, Keys+Code. If you've enjoyed this episode and would like to see more from David and I, maybe more of this format, there are many ways you can support us, help make that happen. Subscribing and participating in these live streams each week here on twitch.tv/keyframers is great. You can also like and subscribe at youtube.com/keyframers. But the biggest way you can help us out is pledging at patreon.com/keyframers. That helps us out each month, and we really appreciate that. I forgot to mention we do have a new patron this month, Marius D. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. He's been in the chat with us today. Thank you so much for supporting us at patreon.com/keyframers. That is awesome. And we have some perks that we've been working on for patrons. So now is a really good time to get in there and become a patron, and maybe get a little something here soon.
Yeah. And remember, we do accept submissions for future episodes. Next week, we're going to have our normal coding stream, but in the future, when we have this Keys and Code, we do accept music requests. And Marius, he gave a lot of them today, so I thank you for those, because I did do most of them. Okay, so you can't say that I didn't. So you could present these questions or challenges on the air, and we will try to answer them. And also, please share this video and demo across all of your social platforms.
Yes, we greatly appreciate that. Well, thank you so much for joining us. David's going to play us out, and that'll be it for the stream. But until next time, adios, amigos.
All right.
Bye, everyone.
Almost. Nailed it.